to Charlotte Motor Speedway for round number 3 of Racecraft TV Rallycross, presented by Sparko. We're here for RX2, first of all, at this fantastic brand new, well, basically brand new circuit to IRX. A lot of the drivers would never have driven here before. One of the newest circuits in RX history, and one of the best in my personal opinion. Who am I? Dane Baird, joined by Joshua Lee, and we have got fantastic action on the way here on Racecraft TV. Car cameras created by Isfan below at trackcams22.com, and yeah, we've got some fantastic action on the way. Josh, couple of issues with the circuit, it seems, over the last couple of days from the update, but that hasn't stopped a lot of drivers turning up for today's RX2 event.
Oh, definitely not. We are pushing in on roughly about 15 people ready to race here in RX2, and they're going to be throwing a wrench into the point standings as they currently sit, and we get a great look at them now from round 2 at Sonoma. Michael Lawrence with the current lead, but he will not be competing here tonight from what we have heard. That gives a great opportunity for Christopher Plumley to get to the top. Sean Winkler, Crystal King, and Trevor Teal heading up the top 5. They all have an opportunity to try and get above Michael Lawrence, but it's not going to be too easy as we take a look at that points format, Dane.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some interesting points format here. You get scored for your heat and feature. You do not get scored for the consolation, as is commonly the case in Rallycross competition on iRacing. 8 points for a win, down to 1 point for finishing 8th in your heat, and then in the feature starting at 15 for the win, then going down to 1 point in 10th position. But that means that the total number of points you can get from a perfect race weekend, winning your heat and winning the feature, is 23 points, which I have a feeling we might get somebody doing that here today in RX2. We've seen quite a few drivers have some fantastic performances, and we have one driver heading down into RX2 from RX1, so they're looking like they might be pretty good indeed heading into this event. This is what the format is going to be for tonight's event. Then 5-lap heat, we're going to have 2 of those, the top 4 advance, and then we're going to have a 5-lap last chance qualifier or consolation event. The top 2 will advance to the feature. They'll line up in 9th and 10th. Then we're going to have the fastest 10 drivers from those 3 races, and we're going to put them into a 10-lap feature event. That is where the bulk of the points are going to be scored, and that's where every driver wants to be finishing out on top. A couple track facts about Charlotte Motor Speedway. Opened in 1960. It is, of course, in Concord, North Carolina, and it is just under a mile in length, or just over a kilometer, depending on your units of choice, which makes it one of the shorter circuits on the calendar. It's quite a short lap here in Charlotte compared to some of the other circuits that we visit on the calendar, Josh. And what that means is these heat races are going to fly by really quickly.
Definitely does, and it also means that these drivers are going to have less time to react to what's going on around them. And you mentioned the calendar, Dane. Perfect timing. Have it up on our screen right now. And round 3 here in Charlotte, definitely the most unique circuit we have had and the newest circuit we have had on the calendar up to this date. We go to a classic circuit, Daytona Long, been on the iRacing Rallycross calendar since the beginning of iRacing Rallycross, so great to see it on the calendar. Atlanta Long, a fan favorite and a driver favorite. Iowa Speedway, one of the Rallycross tracks that a lot of people don't talk about, but we're going to be going to it here in the calendar. Brands Hatch, Barcelona, Hell Lankabanen, then another round to Phoenix, Sonoma, and Charlotte to finish off the season here. So it's a bit of a unique calendar. We're going to be having a bit of a stretch there of European circuits from Brands Hatch, Barcelona, and Hell Lankabanen. Interesting to see how the drivers are going to transition over to that European section of the calendar, but we're staying in the U.S. for right now. Charlotte Motor Speedway, a lot of challenges to this course, and a recent update making that dirt a little bit more slick is going to have some wild cards out here tonight.
Yep, absolutely, and first on the calendar for the series is that the Joker lane here is not a shortcut. Despite it being in America, the Joker lap here is is a long lap. It's going to add around about 1.7 seconds onto the driver's lap times when they go down through that Joker lane. The qualifying is all done. Starting grid then, you've got Seth French on the inside. It's 3 at the front for the grid at Charlotte. Tor Borenson in second, then Sean Winkler, Sean Langton, Crystal King, Christopher Plumley, and Thomas Grady rounding out the grid here. We're just waiting on one more driver, and that is Crystal King, starting in 5th position. Everybody else just waiting on the grid, waiting very patiently on the grid, it must be said. But Seth French on the inside needs to get a good run, because that middle lane and the outside lane, you can get a very nice run around the outside of that opening corner and really make it work, and if you get a good start. So we're gonna have to wait and see now. The lights are on. We are ready to race for heat number 2. Let's see who's gonna get a good start. We're green, and it's a fantastic start from the middle once again for Plumley out in front.
Oh my,
French in second. Oh dear. Oh, there's Subaru on top of the wall. But now these guys, right, these drivers now, they're going to have to make their way. Oh, there's more contact up in front for the lead. Borenson and French making contact in the dirt section for the first time, going over the jump now. Keep your cool. You've got a 9-second lead over Winkler in 4th. So you don't have to battle, guys. Just keep it cool, and you'll be easily through to the feature. This might be the freest transfer spots that they'll get all season long. Now, what's interesting, Josh, we're going to have to see who's going to get that 4th and final transfer spot. King retiring from the race.
We'll have to see who gets it now. With King retired, we're going to see a little bit of bugs in our timing, but once they work their way past the pit lane there and past the archway, it'll start to update, and Tor Borenson leading the way now. Seth French trying to fight from P2. It's a bit of anybody's guess at who's going to get this transfer spot. As Sean Langton, he just went into the Joker lane. Plumley was able to use his Joker. Same thing with Sean Winkler, it looks like, here in the 43. So as they all exited now, 3rd and 4th have already taken the Joker. And with it being a longer Joker, Dane, this is as low as they are going to go. They can only make up time from here on the racetrack. And look at Langton sending it to the bottom for the transfer. Langton still needs to Joker.
Yep, absolutely. He's got to make his way down to the Joker. He's clearly thinks he's being held up by Winkler, so I would assume Langton is going to make a hard left turn. No, stays out. So that's an interesting call. We do know that some of these drivers come from short course racing or other forms of racing on iRacing, maybe not too familiar with the Joker strategy and the best ways to go about it. As actually we've just got a slowdown now for the leader, Seth French. He's in the wall in the dirt section, hard into the wall. You can see there's some damage to the front of that Beetle as well. And Borenson behind has already taken to the Joker. So French going to lose out on this lead when he does go down into the Joker.
Still going to keep that lead by about 2 seconds. Not electing to Joker yet. It'll be 2 to go here at the line. Langton still needs to Joker. He was able to get by Winkler for that transfer. And into the wall goes Seth French. A hard hit making his way through turn number 1. And it's going to get even worse as he's stuck on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get it pointed forward. He gets it back going, has a bit of a gap over Sean Langton, but that is disaster for the race leader. Dane, we'll take a look at a quick replay.
Yep, replay coming up now of what happened there. Coming through the first section, carrying maybe too much speed, and just gets the back into that wall. I've done that so many times in my practice for the All-Star event. That was one of the biggest places to crash, and then trying to get it going again is so tough because the walls are so close on either side. That was very, very unfortunate stuff there from French. Goes down into the Joker now, but Langton is going to move up then, and doesn't take to the Joker. White flag lap then, final lap for the leader. Remember, these guys are pretty far down from the lead at the moment, and French might not even make it into the feature now, all the way down in 5th, so this is huge. for French, after leading the race for so long, now's not even going to make it through to the feature. Will start second on the consolation grid as it stands now. Morrison, around the final couple of corners, is going to take the win, but I'm interested to see where does Langton come out. French tapping the wall again there in the background though.
Let's see what is going to happen here as they work their way past the Joker lane. This time by, Langton needs to come in. Is it going to be enough?
Oh, it's a bit deep.
Oh, that was horrendous.
Let's see if it'll be enough. It is going to be 4th place, but will it be 5th? No, it will not. Langton's going to barely get into the feature.
French did all that they could there, but just couldn't get quite the fastest lap that they needed, and just very unfortunate stuff there, tapping the wall at between turns 1 and 2. Like I said, the easiest place to do that on the circuit, very difficult part of the circuit. Full results up on the screen, top 4 moving to your feature. Well, now, bit of a warm-up session for the drivers to just get their bearings again. Of course, the drivers who got through straight from heat number 1, they've not been driving for a while, so it'll be good for them to get a couple laps on the circuit again, get that muscle memory dialed in once more. But Josh, after seeing the heats in the feature, honestly, these starts have been chaotic. That consolation starts, the consolation start we just saw was madness.
Absolutely, and it has been madness in every single one of these starts, and we talk about it in iRacing Rallycross, that dive into the first corner, and I don't think there's any first corner that creates this much madness than turn number 1 here at Charlotte. Same thing, because it uses the Roval turn number 1 that we're now used to on the NASCAR side of things, and that turn 1 has been called the Tums Heartburn turn for a reason. It causes heartburn in the drivers that have to race the Roval, because it is just such a tough turn 1, and it is so easy to make a mistake there. We only have to run it once in this config, but it is the opening turn of the race. One wrong move and you could be out of luck for the entire day, and that is exactly what we saw for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, you think about it, they're going 3 wide. At one point, they were going 4 wide into that corner. That's all well and good when you're on the oval. It's quite wide out there. When you get onto the infield, not so much, and that's what causes most of the problems. Lots of drivers trying to make their way into that tightening spot. It just causes all the drivers to come onto the same line, and that's when the chaos happens. You can see there, coming out of the final couple of corners, there are walls that just stick into the circuit at random points at the start of this at the start of the race, coming out of the starting grid. And when you're trying to go side by side with someone, you're just going to get sent into those walls straight away. As warm-up takes to an end, and we'll get ready to go for the feature race in RX2. Josh, 10 drivers on the grid. Morrison starting in second, I think, has one of the best chances of getting away cleanly after seeing his starts of these races. Has been fantastic so far. What do you think? Who have you got your money on as we take a look at the grid for the feature race?
Honestly, my money's gonna go to Zach Knowles because he has been so strong, and we'll very quickly take a look at the starting grid here as the field's getting ready to go already. Knowles on the pole, Tor Borison next to him, Zachary Drapkin, Christopher Plumley, James Watson, Sean Winkler. Back down from there to complete the 10 cars, it's Patrick Granitza, Sean Langton, Casey Soul, and Trevor Teal. And we are now ready to go racing. Dane, it's feature time in Charlotte for RX2.
Absolutely, all 10 cars onto the grid then, 4 rows. The lights are on, the revs are rising. We're ready to race for the feature in RX2 round 3 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we go green. It might have been a jump start, but on the inside, Zach Knowles with a fantastic getaway will not be involved in anything that happens further behind. And that is the cleanest start we have had all day. They took it until the feature to give us a clean start. Everybody has made it through the first couple of corners clean. Now we make our way onto the dirt for the first time. Is that going to continue? Yes, it is. Everybody staying out of the wall, everybody being cautious. Langton sending it up to the inside of Watson for 7th place there. Fantastic move for Langton. And now I think we've just seen our first casualty. Winkler is dropping back. There he is out of the jump into the wall, and that is a shame for Sean Winkler. But out in front, it is Knowles who leads from Drapkin, then Plumley, Boriston, and Soul. Your top 5, Knowles up the inside of Drapkin, up the inside of Knowles, and almost making it work, dropping out for a second. There is the Ford Fiesta. They make contact for a little bit. The Ford Fiesta blinking all over the place. Cars are crashing into the Joker, Josh.
Oh my, another hard hit. That was Andre Borison.
I'm sorry about that.
Joker, a hard hit from Winkler. We rejoin the bottom of the lead. It looks like Drapkin's internet connection still not exactly cooperating as well as I think he hopes it would here in the feature, but he does have the provisional lead for the moment. Zach Knowles sits there in P2. And racing from third, it's Casey Soul and Sean Langton, but the bottom of the lead is not done. Knowles back to the bottom. Knowles back to the lead.
I think there might have been some communication there on the voice chat because Drapkin let him up there, probably due to the lag. I mean, it is impossible to race someone when they're only on the screen half the time. It is a fact. It's impossible, especially when you're racing as close as they were on Rallycross. It is impossible to race someone at that point. So, heading across the line to start lap number 3 of 10, and it is still Knowles who is leading this race. We'll see who is taking their Jokers. Well, Soul has taken his Joker, Casey Soul, currently in 4th position, and is around about 4.5 seconds back. And what that means is he's still going to come out around about 2.5 seconds behind. The leaders are still going to come out around about 2.5 seconds in front of Soul. So Soul's going to get a bit of a move on if he wants to try and make his way up through the pack. There goes Drapkin into the Joker though.
Let's see how this is going to work for Zachary Drapkin in the 12. Who followed him in? That looked to be Sean Langton in the 77. Drapkin's going to keep P2. Soul's going to keep P3 as Langton blends in P4 right in front of Christopher Plumley. They're running P5 for the moment. That leaves only 3 drivers who are yet to take their Joker, Dane, and one of them being the leader, Zach Knowles. Not going to spell great for your current Canadian race leader.
3.3 seconds, now down to 2.8 seconds as I say that, 2.7, 2.6 seconds is the gap between Knowles and Drapkin. Knowles has to take the Joker now, does take the Joker now. We'll see. Has he got a good Joker line through here? Just clipping the apex very nicely. Now coming out of the Joker merge line on the inside. They're side by side heading into turn number 1, and it is just Knowles taking the lead of the race coming out of the Joker. Drapkin set the fastest lap of the race by a second on that last lap, really going for it, is now disappearing more than is actually on the circuit. Unfortunately, that internet connection not holding up at all. You can see it's really not good at all. Knowles into the barrier there a little bit, but Drapkin struggling a little bit. Now, for viewers who may not know, on Drapkin's screen, everybody else will be disappearing when he is disappearing on our screens, so it's almost impossible for him to race as well. So it's not just a disadvantage for everybody else. He is suffering just as much, but still up in 2nd place. Everybody still in the race realistically has jokered, so no more of that. With 5 laps left in the race, Josh, do you think Drapkin can take this?
It's going to be tough, and we saw just a mistake from Zachary Drapkin there, right as you said that, Dane. Got a little bit too far up out of the groove coming through turn number 1. We've been seeing that all day long. Nothing new there for Zachary Drapkin. He's now going to have Casey Soul, Sean Langton joining him there 3rd and 4th. And as they run through the dirt section, Langton gonna make a move down to the bottom on Casey Soul. Can he get the switchback working? No, he cannot. Soul's gonna keep P3. And Watson and Plumley now gonna go trading spots here. Watson had 5th place a lap ago right here. Pulled about just the exact same thing. Went wide on the exit of this corner. But this time, Plumley cannot get by. 5th place still keeping to the 39er, James Watson. But with 4 to go, it's Knowles pulling away at the front. 2.7 seconds the gap. He just needs to be smooth and calm now for these last 4.
Absolutely, Boris setting the fastest lap of the race by a whole second, a 42.6. So trying to not have a race ending mistake in the Joker. Almost could have been race ending. Back on the circuit and trying to catch up to Plumley. Has just actually got ahead of Soul. What's happened to Soul? Soul's ended up in the barrier somewhere. Hard into the barrier as well. You can see there's a lot of damage now to the front of that VW. We're going to get a Racecraft TV replay up on the screen now. Coming through turn 1 as he clipped the inside wall, no. Gone over the sausage curb, no. Clipped these blue barriers, no. Oh, over rotation.
goodness.
Bang. Big impact into the wall. Now trying to turn around is tricky because that's a blind crest for those drivers. Very good driving there from Sol to make sure no one ends up collecting him. But out in front of this race, Josh Knowles by almost 4 seconds.
Yeah, what a dominating day for Zach Knowles here as we take a look at a bit of a hornet's nest here. 4 drivers battling 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th on the racetrack. That's Watson, Langton, Plumley, and Orison in the number 55, rounding up the field in P6. More issues for Casey Soul. He has now gone into the pit lane where we can't get a view, so unfortunate for Casey Soul. He went ahead, towed it back into the pit lane. His day is done. But look at the drifting from Zach Knowles coming through the last asphalt corner before the middle portion of this racetrack all being dirt through the roval. What a day for Zach Knowles. This is definitely going to spell great for him when it comes to the point standings, and a good-looking Canadian-inspired paint scheme there with Factory Sim Sport colors. He's looking to walk away with this RX2 feature race victory and be the 3rd unique RX2 feature race winner in 3 rounds, and we have an opportunity to go 3 unique RX1 feature race winners coming up here in a bit.
Yep, absolutely. Mikey Lawrence and Plumley taking the wins in the 1st and 2nd rounds respectively. But now it is this man's turn. Zach Knowles out in front in the 099 Subaru. Coming around through the dirt section now. Everybody spread out pretty well, so I don't think there's going to be any more changes for position. But Knowles coming around, little mistake there, but guess what? It doesn't matter because he's 3 seconds out in front, coming around the final couple of corners now. And to finish off round number 3 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Zach Knowles takes the win in RX2's feature by 3.4 seconds. An absolutely dominating performance from the driver of the 099 car, the Canadian, absolutely dominating. The lowest that he was in the entire race was 2nd. That's an absolutely dominating victory there. By Rallycross terms, 3.3 seconds is huge.
Tor Andre Borison gonna round out that top 5, and Bradley Winkler, Plumley gonna come home P7 after an uphill battle, and Trevor Teal, Casey Soul, Patrick Granitza rounding out the field. But what a start to the day here, Dane, and RX2 always provides some exciting action as we get a good look at the full race results here from RX2. We still have plenty more action coming up in RX1.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. Those guys, they always give us fantastic racing. These guys in RX2, they've given us a treat here today. Finally, in the feature, they give us a race with a clean start. I could not believe it when all 10 cars made it through the first few turns unscathed. That was an absolutely fantastic start to the race. Full results up on the screen then. Zach Knowles, of course, taking the win, and it was the battle of the Zacks up at the front. I didn't even realize that. Zachary Drapkin in the number 12 machine, finishing in 2nd by 3.3 seconds. James Watson for Ohio in the 3rd position there, narrowly missing out on a top 2, narrowly missing out on a podium was Sean Langton, only a 2nd back from Watson at the end of that race. Tor Andre Borison was the driver who moved down from RX1, finishes in 5th, but had more than enough pace to win that race. A very unfortunate incident into the Joker on the first lap put him out of contention very early on. Sean Winkler in 6th, Christopher Plumley in 7th, not able to catch up the gap and overtake Mikey Lawrence in the standings as we were thinking he might. Trevor Teal in 8th, and then Katie Soul, Patrick Granitza in 9th and 10th. Neither of those 2 drivers finishing the race in their VW Beetles. Wow, that rounds up a fantastic evening of action in our